Caitlin Clark is the only woman in basketball to ever sign with Wilson Basketball, and she's the only athlete since Michael Jordan to do so.
If we're comparing a Caitlin Clark signature shoe release to anybody not named...
Out of nowhere, a shockwave just hit Nike's basketball empire, and nobody saw it coming. Picture this. Nike execs, sitting inside their billion-dollar headquarters, suddenly sweating like it's Game 7. This is the biggest sports brand on the planet, worth over $200 billion. And they just locked up the player everyone's calling the next Michael Jordan, but in women's basketball. Caitlin Clark. 8 years, $28 million. Sounds huge, right? Except insiders are calling it a steal, like Nike basically got her for pennies. They thought they had the golden ticket, a decade of guaranteed money printing. Then Wilson, yes, Wilson, dropped an ad so emotional, so powerful, it sent Nike's marketing team into full panic mode, scrambling to rewrite their entire game plan.
When you strip away the noise and the bright lights, it's just the game you loved as a kid.
Chanted defense by the Clark fans.
Now here's the twist. Wilson pulled this off with basketballs, not shoes. And still, it's shaking up the entire industry. To get how rough things are for Nike, just rewind a few years. This is a company that's watched over $100 billion vanish since 2021. It got so ugly, fans and investors were screaming for the CEO's head, and he actually left. Meanwhile, Adidas. They walked away from the massive Yeezy deal and somehow kept thriving. Nike's next quarter is expected to drop over 11%, down to $11 billion in revenue. That's their worst hit since the pandemic crash back in 2020. Analysts say Nike's tried to turn things around, but experts like David Schwartz are blunt about it. A few new shoe designs won't save this ship. They need a whole new empire, a product line worth billions, and that kind of thing doesn't happen overnight. Caitlin Clark was supposed to be the shortcut. In college, her fame blew past Angel Reese and even outshined the most legendary male college player ever. That's not normal. That's historic. So when she turned pro, brands lined up with cash in hand. Under Armour wanted her walking in Steph Curry's footsteps. But Clark stayed loyal to Nike, remembering how they supported her in college. Even Adidas couldn't buy her loyalty. Fans were counting down the days for her signature shoe to drop and flip women's basketball on its head. But then, plot twist, Nike announced Aya Wilson would get her shoe first. And buried in that same announcement was the real gut punch. Clark's shoe isn't dropping until 2026, maybe even 2027.
Early call. Putting to rest any rumors that A, this wasn't a done deal, and B, there are renegotiations at the table. Something that this did clear up as well, it's looking like Caitlin Clark's shoe.
Wait, seriously? 2 to 3 years just for a shoe? Let me put that into perspective for you. Rewind to 2003. Every big brand was fighting to sign LeBron James. Nike wanted him so badly, they started sketching his shoe before he'd even put pen to paper on a contract. They kept it top secret, using a hidden code name so nobody would catch wind of it. And get this, from the first sketch to the finished product, it only took 3 months. LeBron walked onto the court for his NBA debut already wearing his own signature shoe.
You're being extremely disingenuous. Extremely disingenuous. We can't compare abnormality to normal behaviors. We can't compare the extreme case, the rarest of the rare case, to an average Joe Schmo walking down the street singing do-a-dee-dee-dee-dum-dee-dee-do.
So let that sink in. Nike went from a 3-month turnaround to a 3-year wait. Something doesn't add up. And honestly, it's turning into a bit of a mess. When Clark signed her deal, headlines blew up asking why fans were so angry. And remember, she hadn't even played a single WNBA game yet. Critics said Aya Wilson should have gotten her shoe first, no question. But here's the cold truth about business. It was never about fairness. It's about who moves the product. Look at Tim Duncan. Better player than Allen Iverson on paper, but when it came to selling sneakers, Iverson wiped the floor with him. Nike actually tried launching Duncan's shoe twice, and both times, it flopped so hard they pulled it. Duncan didn't care though. He got it. That's just business. Aya Wilson's situation is different. Nike is going all in on her. Billboards, big campaigns, the works. But that's exactly where things start feeling a little uneasy. She's made some pretty pointed comments about privilege among white players. When talking about Paige Buchers, she suggested her success came easy, almost brushing off her actual skill on the court like it barely mattered.
Basketball talent as an afterthought.
Women, Paige reminds me a lot of you. Like, it's not really about me. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point. And also, like, she's good at that.
Something happened that nobody in women's sports saw coming, and it's about to blow up in Nike's face. Caitlin Clark got snubbed from the Olympic team. The reason they gave: she hadn't earned it yet. Sounds fair, right? Except back in 1992, Christian Lettner walked straight onto the Dream Team with 0 NBA games under his belt. 0. And somehow Caitlin Clark, one of the most dominant college players in history, couldn't crack the roster. Diana Taurasi made the Olympic team as a rookie back in 2004, with stats that basically mirror what Clark was putting up. 20 years later, Clark gets told she's not good enough. Make it make sense. So what did she do? She went out and torched the league anyway. First team All WNBA as a rookie, leading nearly every rookie stat category there is. Fourth in MVP voting. She didn't just play well, she flipped the entire league upside down. Her games were pulling over 1 million viewers a night, compared to the usual 300,000. Tickets for her playoff debut cost more than every other playoff game combined. The Washington Mystics literally relocated to a bigger arena just to fit the crowds chasing her. Every building she stepped into, she broke the attendance record. Even Team USA eventually admitted leaving her off was a mistake. And yet Nike still won't fully commit to her. It's like they're scared to unleash the most marketable athlete they've ever signed. Then, out of nowhere, Wilson dropped a commercial that changed everything. Not just another ad, a genuine gut punch of a commercial. Nike's attempts at emotional marketing look like amateur hour next to this thing. It opens simple. Basketball is the same game you fell in love with as a kid, once you strip away the noise, the lights, the politics. That's it. Straight to the heart. Wilson understood exactly why people fell in love with this sport in the first place, while Nike sits frozen, too nervous to put its biggest star front and center. Feet on the hardwood, ball in hand, guiding you, shaping you into the player you always dreamed of being. Because at the end of the day, the ball always brings you home. That's the message. Calm, confident, completely undeniable. And here's why this should terrify Nike executives. Caitlin Clark became the first female athlete ever signed by Wilson, the only deal of its kind since Michael Jordan himself. Let that sink in for a second. She's already being mentioned in the same breath as Jordan, and Nike is the one letting this moment slip through their fingers. Wilson just planted their flag as the real basketball brand, the one that puts the sport first, no hesitation, no fear. Meanwhile, Nike is stuck worrying about what people might say online. These aren't just basketballs Wilson is selling. They're telling a story. For months, Wilson's team studied Clark like she was the subject of a documentary. Her style, her favorite colors, who she is off the court, not just on it. They tracked her outfits, her social media, everything, just to understand who she really is. They treated her like a superstar. Nike, on the other hand, has treated her like a liability. According to Wilson's design director, the team actually started with 50 different concepts before narrowing it down. Colors that clashed, patterns that looked amazing on paper but fell apart the second they hit real hardwood. When the ad finally dropped alongside a brand new basketball lineup on June 23rd, the response was massive. Fans everywhere praised Wilson for keeping it simple, keeping it about the game, and skipping all the cultural noise. People are already calling it one of the best basketball commercials in years. And while Wilson is out here making history, Nike stays silent. Dead silent, actually, on their biggest female athlete. They're watching a competitor build the perfect campaign around a player Nike already had. Wilson is telling a story with basketballs that Nike was too afraid to tell with sneakers. That's what happens when fear starts calling the shots instead of talent. Remember, Caitlin Clark signed an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike. For someone who has already reshaped women's basketball more than any player in history, that number is almost laughable. It's a steal. And instead of capitalizing on it, Nike is letting a ball company walk in and steal the entire spotlight, all because they're scared of a little backlash. Here's the irony though. Nike built its entire empire on athletes who transcended their sport. LeBron James, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. These weren't just great players. They were cultural forces that completely rewrote the rules of sports marketing. Caitlin Clark fits that exact same mold. She's cut from the same cloth. But Nike is too tangled up in politics to even notice what's standing right in front of them. Wilson sees it clearly. Nike is sleepwalking through it. What Wilson did wasn't just sign a basketball star. They sent a message, loud and clear, about staying authentic, keeping the sport at the center, and respecting greatness no matter what the internet says. And that's exactly what has Nike rattled. This commercial isn't just good marketing, it's a masterclass. It captures everything that makes Clark special without dragging in a single ounce of controversy. It celebrates her love for the game, her honesty, her ability to inspire an entire generation of young players. The production is flawless. Watching it, you're not thinking about drama or politics at all. You're just remembering why you fell in love with basketball in the first place. That's the power of marketing done right. And it's exactly the move Nike should have made with the biggest star in women's basketball. Instead, they're standing on the sidelines watching Wilson run laps around them. Fans, analysts, marketing experts, they're all talking about this ad. Millions of views. Shares everywhere. Wilson just proved something simple. When you focus on what actually matters, skill, passion, authenticity, everything else takes care of itself. Nike's hesitation has exposed just how cautious and fearful their strategy has become. They're sitting on the biggest opportunity women's sports has ever handed a brand, and they're letting it slip away because they're scared of a headline. Meanwhile, Wilson keeps building something real with a once-in-a-generation talent, and it's going to pay off for years to come. The entire basketball world is watching this play out in real time. And if Nike doesn't wake up soon, some other brand is going to swoop in and show them exactly how this game is played. Wilson didn't just take a shot here, they hit dead center. While Nike plays it safe, Wilson is out here making history. In business, just like in basketball, you either make the move or you get left behind. Wilson just proved they understand that better than anyone. So here's the real question. Does Nike still have time to fix this? Or has Caitlin Clark's biggest moment already slipped through their fingers for good? Drop your thoughts down below. And if you don't want to miss how this story unfolds, make sure you're subscribed, because this rivalry is only just getting started.